Stunned. They're all stunned. All the experts, all those professors and the liberal commentariat, all those political leaders, all of those political parties, all of those leader writers, all of those espresso macchiato drinking, nanny employing Europhiles, they're all stunned that the British working class has rejected them. Britain is out. Cameron is out. Corbyn might be out. Scotland might be out. What a good day to be back on the radio after a brief interregnum of some 4 short years. It's George Galloway. It's the mother of all talk shows, and it's with you until 10 p.m. You know the telephone line. Hit the phones, Jack and Jacqueline.
The mother of all talk shows with George Galloway on Talk Radio. We'll get you talking.
Well, just in case you don't know, it's 0844 499 1000. Calls cost 7 pence a minute plus your access charge, but we'll call you back. You can also text me, and I used to get hundreds, sometimes thousands of texts. If you want to, you can text me on Talk, and then your message to 87222. Text cost 25 pence plus your standard network charges. You can email me through the Talk Radio website, talkradio-co.uk. And you can tweet me, because this is the 21st century, at Talk Radio or at George Galloway. Or you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/talkradio-UK. Well, when it was fixed that I would be back on the radio today, no one could have imagined how seismic a day this would turn out to be. It was said that the 23rd of June will forever be remembered, but actually the 24th of June has turned out to be, if anything, an even more momentous day. I called it absolutely right. I said that we would vote to leave. I said that Cameron would be gone before lunchtime. And at 8:30 this morning, before he'd even had his breakfast, he was gone. Now the runners and riders are obvious enough, although over the course of the show we'll canvass some of those. But we didn't expect Dame, Baroness, Duchess, whatever title in which she now rejoices, Margaret Hodge, the billionaire dowager of Islington, but representing Barking and Dagenham, which voted overwhelmingly for Lexit, Brexit, exit from the EU. Nonetheless, she thinks that Jeremy Corbyn is to blame. Jeremy Corbyn, who did everything that he could for them. More fool him. He should have stuck with the courage of his convictions. I sat beside him in Parliament for almost 30 years, and I've marched with him for almost 40 years. And if you think that Jeremy Corbyn was really pro-EU, you've never heard a hostage reading out a list of their kidnappers' demands. But nonetheless, he did it. He did the duty that they imposed upon him. And according to the polls, 60% of Labour voters followed him. The 40% are very disappointed in Labour. And there's a very real danger that they won't be coming back. And many, who knows how many, of the 60% who did vote Remain only did so because Jeremy Corbyn asked them to. So it seems churlish in the extreme, if you ask me, to now be demanding Jeremy Corbyn's head on a platter. What about the British economy? We were told that the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse would soon be riding over the horizon if Britain voted to leave. War, famine, pestilence, and disease were all going to be visited upon us. We were told that the economy was going to fall over a cliff today, but it hasn't. The pound is down 3%, and the FTSE 100 index is down 2.5%. Well, that's just not even a bad day at the office. Because the fundamentals have not changed. And what are those fundamentals? That we are the 5th biggest economy in the world. We have a population of 65 million. We have a name and a reputation in the world. We have a seat on the Security Council of the United Nations forever, unless we ourselves voted to come off it. And we're sitting on hundreds of international fora as big political and economic players. Don't let anyone persuade you that Britain is too small, too poor, or too stupid to be an independent country, which is what we are now back on track to being. For me, this has nothing to do with nationalism. I hate nationalism. That's why I campaigned throughout Scotland in 2014 to stop the breakup of this island of English-speaking people. And I give you this notice, Nicola Sturgeon, I'll be back up the road campaigning against you in any independence referendum that you now try to spring. You lost the last referendum. You lost this referendum. The gracious thing to do would be to accept the result of both of those referenda. But if you don't, then trouble lies ahead. It's true also that there are issues raised about Ireland. As it's cards on the table time, let me say that I have always supported Irish unity. And I think that now would be a good time to reopen the issue of Irish unity. Indeed, it is axiomatic that it arises from the fact that Britain will shortly have a border with the European Union on the northern and southern Irish borders. So we'll be talking about all of these things, and I'll be asking for your calls. Now, let me give you the number again. It's 0844 499 1000. That's 08444 99 1000. The number's changed since I was last here. Everything is fresher. There's been a new coat of paint, although maybe it was painted just for me. You know how the Queen thinks that the world smells of new paint. But I must say, talk radio has turned out to be a terrific new entry into the media market. And I hope that the mother of all talk shows, restored in splendour every Friday night between 7 and 10, is going to be an addition to the smorgasbord of talent, the tapas of talent that talk radio already offers. But it can only be if you join in. That's why I need your calls, your texts, your emails, and even your tweets if this show is going to become again the university of the airwaves that the old mother of all talk shows was. And this is the point that I have to get all melancholy. If there's one man in Britain who would have been looking forward to be the first call on this restored mother of all talk shows radio show, it would have been Karl in Plaistow. Every Friday, every year, for 7 years, Karl in Plaistow elucidated, enlightened, educated me and all of us. But sadly, he died just a couple of months ago whilst waiting for the show to come back. And I said at his funeral, at which I spoke, that I would dedicate the first of the new mother of all talk shows to the memory of Karl in Plaistow. Karl McCulloch, may you rest in peace. May God have mercy upon your soul. OK, we're talking about the referendum. We're talking about David Cameron and who's going to succeed him and what should happen next. Well, I'm very clear. It's obvious that Boris Johnson is going to succeed him. But Boris Johnson cannot be trusted to go into the negotiations for withdrawal from the European Union without a democratic mandate from the British people. And I give him this piece of advice as a near 30-year parliamentarian myself. It's no use doing what Gordon Brown did and failing to go to the people for their endorsement, especially before entering into a negotiation period of such moment. And therefore, I'm calling for a general election. If not now, then very soon indeed. But who'll be facing Boris Johnson if such an election happens? Will it be Jeremy Corbyn? Will it be the Dowager, the Duchess, Margaret Hodge? Will it be Dan Jarvis, the paratrooper? Who will it be? Who's going to be the Labour leader when that general election comes? I again put my cards on the table. Jeremy Corbyn is a friend of mine, and I believe that he is an honest and sincere man who did his duty. I wish he hadn't done it with the gusto with which he did, but that's all now in the past. The best thing for Labour to do would be to get behind Jeremy Corbyn and get ready for a new general election. 0844 499 1000, that's the number to call me. I don't know if the switchboard is lighting up in the way that it used to. Whenever it dimmed, I used to throw in two subjects. Let me say to my production team, and it's a big team behind the glass, if things are slacking, we'll discuss dangerous dogs, or we'll discuss Margaret Thatcher and her funeral, although in those days her funeral was then yet to come. But these are the two fallback positions, default positions for the mother of all talk shows. But somehow I don't believe that tonight will be in want of your telephone calls. 0844 499 1000. Let's see now where we are. Any callers? Let's take a break then.